Ellie and her background story in just a few moments. And just like always, we're going to be acknowledging Dr. Bradley Nelson, the author of the book, The Emotion Code. The Emotion Code is the technique that we have learned, certified in, and we use it to help people release negative trapped emotions that are holding them back in life. That's people and animals.
That's right.
More about that in just a moment.
Perfect. Thanks, Helena. It's yeah, you can see Helena and I are sort of in summer attire today, which fits in perfectly with noise pollution, because as wonderful as summer is, even for people that live in the country where it's quiet, noises carry a lot. Helena and I are both sort of city people, and I was just saying earlier before we started that I was just doing my meditating, and a city truck came by that was washing the streets, and it's just like, oh, and then about 15 minutes later, one of my favorites, lawn blowers. So I should probably stop focusing on that, because I'm just obviously bringing more attention to it. Anyway.
Excellent. Hey,
yeah.
Dana, could you make us Hollywood squares, please?
Oh, thank you so much. I will do that right now.
Our code word usually is HS. Means that we're going to be both on the screen at the same time.
We should be good, and we should be live, and we should start to have some people, and there we are, and wonderful. All right, so let's get going. I'm Dana J. Smithers. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner. I am also a certified sacred gifts guide. I help people who are in transition. They're not sure, you know, where they're going in life, kind of what's the next direction. They might have a few ideas, but I help them get clarity on their 3 to 5 sacred gifts. And I've been a certified law of attraction trainer for a very, very long time now. And everything that I do, whether I'm coaching you as a life coach or business coach, I'm always using the law of attraction tools. But the emotion code came about for me because I had my own stuff I was working on. I met someone who did emotion code, and then I noticed that even when I was coaching women in business, getting them going and all of that, even though they may still know what to do, what I found is that they either procrastinated or they got stuck. So I started adding emotion code to all my sessions. And Helena, you were a recipient of that, so tell us how you got into the emotion code then.
Well, the emotion code, you introduced me to the emotion code during our one-on-one business coaching sessions. And what we found is, or what I found is, you would assign me a task, I would agree to a task, and I wouldn't do it, and I'd have a whole bunch of excuses. So what you would do is check and see if there's any trapped negative emotions that are preventing me from doing things like making a phone call, updating my website or my intake forms, raising my prices. Yes.
That was a big one for you.
That was a big one. I was taking little baby steps, and then all of a sudden was like, no, I'm worth this, and other people charge the same, so let me be at least an equal to those people, because I've done extensive training. So that was good. And it intrigued me so much that I picked up this book, The Emotion Code, and started to read it and started to use it on just some people around me in my life, and found it so interesting that I decided to become certified so I could use it with my hypnosis clients.
Exactly. Yeah. So as usual, all our shows on every Wednesday morning, we're here at 9:30, are we do it to educate, inspire, and we heal and release trapped emotions from either a person or an animal. And I had been working with the dog Ellie for, I guess, a couple of months now on a few different things. And Ellie was actually left on the side of a road. She's a male, and she's a female, and a male was left with her as well. And Kathy, who adopted Ellie from a shelter, they think that she was probably a breeding dog that became too old to breed. So unfortunately, no longer of value. A horrible thing. And anyway, she got picked up in the shelter, and naturally, a lot of shelter animals do come with a bit of baggage. They're just like people, right? I mean, they've got their history from they could even have inherited trapped emotions in the womb, and then emotions to wherever they are in their life right now. So we're not quite sure how old Ellie is, but she is a mature dog. Worked a lot with abandonment issues, but she definitely has some fear around particular types of noise. So I'm going to be working on that today, and hopefully Kathy is able to put some comments in there today. So that's what I'm going to be working on. But we always like to, just in case we have first-time viewers, just go through the 7 keys to emotion code session, and Helena and I will do that. But before we do that, I like to pull an angel card just to see what it says, and it always has the right message. So this one today says overcoming difficulties. Archangel Jeremiah. So the worst is now behind you, Ellie, and you are surmounting any previous challenges. So that's a little card for Ellie or anyone that's going through noise pollution, and Helena will be talking about that and just how serious that is to our health and our well-being. But let's go ahead. So how is it that I'm going to be able to work with Ellie the dog, Helena?
You are going to ask for permission. And you've done that already. And so
Yes.
you have permission to work from Ellie's owner to work on Ellie today.
Okay. And so the next thing that I have to become, since Ellie is not here with me, is what we call her proxy. So Helena and I both do work on the phone. It could be on Skype, it could be on FaceTime, it could be any number of things. Helena does have an office where she lives, so she may have clients come in. But what does it mean to be a proxy? How do I become her proxy?
Well, after you've received permission, you've actually got permission to tap now into Ellie's subconscious mind, and you're going to be acting on behalf of Ellie and asking the questions. So it's just like if you need to go to you can't go to a meeting and you're giving someone else the right to vote or speak on your behalf.
On your behalf, okay. And another thing that we want to find out is what's called the severity.
That's right, the severity. So we're looking for severity between 1 and 10, or actually, and our goal is actually to get down to a 0, so it's no longer an issue. And what Dana will do is we always ask the person what they think consciously the severity of the problem is, and we're looking for something that's a 7, 8, 9, or 10. And then we ask the subconscious mind to confirm what number it is. And I find often that it's actually quite a lot higher than the number that they have given us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we just do the muscle testing to make sure. I'm not quite sure what Ellie's noise, what the severity is on Ellie. I know it was 10 on all the other things. So I will tap in unless Kathy happens to be watching, and she can let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 where Ellie is with these noises of keys dropping or loud noises, things like that. And so what's the next thing that we're going to do, Helena?
We're going to use a technique called muscle testing. Now, muscle testing is, for me, it looks like this. I have an agreement with my subconscious mind where I link these 2 fingers together. And if I think of the word yes, 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 my fingers lock. And when I think of the word no, my fingers just pull apart. There's not a lot of pressure there. So when we're doing our muscle testing and we're asking the subconscious mind, are there any negative trapped emotions to be released, it will either be a yes or a no. And then we'll release the trapped emotions, and then we'll ask again, did we release it? Yes or no. And so we use those for getting yes or no answers.
Yeah,
And those are the only questions that we can ask is to get a yes or no answer. We're not psychic.
Yeah.
Maybe you're getting a little more intuitive, but that is just us in our development. How do you do muscle testing, Dan?
Well, I've tried a few different ones as well, and the one that works best for me is when I put my index finger and my thumb together, and then I take my fingers from the other hand, my index and middle finger, and this is a yes, a nice tight yes. And again, you don't need to put any pressure on here at all, right? So that's my yes and that's my no. And Helena and I are, since we've been doing it for a while, are very quick to get our yes or no's and go ahead and do that. So once we actually find out that we're going to do the muscle testing. We know what we're going to do. We work from what's called an emotion code chart. And Helena, maybe just explain that a little bit.
So this is my chart that I have here. It is 60 negative trapped emotions listed out in 2 columns, A and B, and then it's divided into rows 1 through 6. So what we'll do is be asking, is there a negative trapped emotion that we can release in column A or B? Is it an odd row or even row? And so we will come to a quadrant here of 5 negative trapped emotions, and we'll just ask them, is it, in this particular case, A3? We just ask individually, is it the first one, second, third, fourth, or fifth? And then when we have identified it, we then ask if we can release it, and then we go about and release it.
Exactly. And just to, we always like to acknowledge our loyal followers, and Sylvia Bellini has been one for a very, very long time, which is just great. Sylvia is very good at giving us a weather report because she lives in London. So apparently they are having a heat wave over there, and Natasha Paula Samuel also lives in Rumford, Essex, right? And they're having a heat wave there. So we haven't quite got the heat wave, but it's happening. So thanks for the weather report. Barb Ashcroft, morning to you. Thanks so much for watching. Please share this live, because again, we're fairly new at doing this, and we just love to increase our audience because we feel we have a lot to offer. Ellie's owner, Kathy, has let me know that Ellie's severity would be a 9 on when she hears the keys dropping, she just won't come to her owner anymore. So thanks so much for that, Kathy. Sylvia's just saying that animals being scared of loud noises is such a huge issue. Yeah, so Helena's gonna talk about just how huge that issue is, and not just for animals in a different way as well. There's something that's very serious with the noise pollution, especially with animals that rely on sound for migration and all sorts of things. So Helena's going to talk about that. So we're doing the muscle testing. We found a particular quadrant where the emotions are in. And then what's the next thing that we do, Helena?
Well, we're going to use a tool, which is a magnet, to release the negative trapped emotion from our physical system. So what happens is that, and this is what my magnets look like today. I've got a couple different ones. They're very powerful magnets. And what magnets do is that they amplify the intention, and they have the ability to erase energy. You know, we put it beside our credit cards, and all that stored information on our credit cards can go right away. But we're going to use these magnets, and we're going to run them along our governing meridian, because we have become our volunteer today, or our subject. And the governing meridian starts here and goes all the way down to the tailbone. And in Chinese medicine, which has been around for thousands of years, have identified different energy meridians in the system. And this governing meridian just taps into all of them. So when we identify the negative trapped emotion, it actually pops out of our physical system. And where is it? What is it trapped? 11, that's right. It's been somewhere stuck, that physical, it has a density to it, that emotion. And it pops out of the physical system into our energetic system, so we can just wipe it away 3 times if it's a regular trapped emotion, or 10 times if it's an inherited one.
Exactly. And sometimes people, and animals, of course, will get actual physical diseases or physical ailments that are really being caused from trapped emotions. And also there's such a thing as a metaphysical idea. When I was working on somebody the other day, and they just said, oh, you know, the weight on my shoulders is killing me. And it's like, okay, well, so, you know, I started working on the areas of the shoulders, right? And, you know, when you say you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, literally those emotions, whether they're the size of a lemon or the size of a cantaloupe, I mean, they can sometimes even stop mobility in people, right? They've got so many aches and pains. Or someone says, well, someone's a pain in the neck. And I go, well, where is the pain? She goes, well, actually in my neck. So it gets translated by our thoughts as well, right? And so what's the one of the most important things that we need to do, Helena, when we are muscle testing?
Is ensure that we are hydrated. The practitioner needs to be hydrated. Energy flows much easier through water. And so, got my water right here.
Yeah. And it's important, that we drink a lot of water anyway, both animals and people. We want to keep flushing the toxins out of our body, because anything that we're eating that's processed or chemicals or whatever, it's all got toxins in it. So we want to keep flushing those out of the body.
I find also that water helps me think better and clarity. If I add, it's good for the skin. If you ever feel like you're having a headache, have some water first. If you're ever feeling hungry, but yet you just eaten some food, have some water. Water is fantastic.
All righty. So Helena, I'm going to go ahead and get working on Ellie, and I have a prayer. I'm going to do my prayer first for Ellie, because I want to, regardless of the type of healing that you're doing, energy healing, we always set an intention, right? And that intention is to do the best possible work that we can do to release these trapped emotions, get connected with source, and then, just let the, intuition take over, follow where the emotions are, or come up on the chart, and just trust that we are working through the right emotions. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for Ellie. I'm just going to take my earbuds off. And Helena, do we have anybody else watching before we go ahead and start?
We have a few people watching, but because they're not commenting, I'm not going to mention them. But if you want to be mentioned on our show, you have to comment. And because we actually post this to YouTube, we get hundreds of views of our videos, and it's really great. Our intention is to spread the word about the emotion code and the ability of this healing technique. So,
all right, I'm going to go ahead.
Good. Okay. So I want to share a little story about why I became a hypnotherapist. And the reason I became a hypnotherapist is one of them is because I went to a hypnotherapist many years ago, and it was because of noise. It had sort of progressed from the evening would come and I would start to get a little anxious and upset and irritable, actually, short with people. And as the evening went on, the sun went down, I was having more and more troubles sleeping at night, because I would hear a tiny little noise, maybe from my next door neighbor or a dinner party on a balcony, or people walking outside my house. And I would get all agitated. And the people I was around, they're like, why are you agitated? I'm like, I don't know. It was just a weird feeling I would have. So I went to a hypnotherapist because it was actually starting to affect my life. I was waking up in the morning and absolutely dreading the sun going down. And what we found is during the session is that I regressed to an earlier time when I was a baby in a crib. And I remember the vision of it and being woken up and by loud noises, and the loud noises were my parents arguing. And I felt as a baby that they were arguing because I was there, because I was born and I was a burden and I was causing them to argue. And if I wasn't there, then they wouldn't be arguing. And that was my thought process way back when I was a baby. And I guess I had carried that all the way through. So whenever there was any irritation or loud noises or even evening people talking, I was always worried that I don't know what it was going to be, but I had that feeling. So in hypnosis, I was able to understand that maybe they were just arguing because they were frustrated about something in their life and it had nothing to do with me. And we reframed it, and I knew that my parents wanted me. They've always shown me love and kind to me. And so I just changed that situation and that belief way back in my head, way back to when I was in a crib. And what was really interesting is those noises at nighttime as an adult right now don't bother me. Our neighbors can have a little dinner party and it's okay. People can walk by our house and talk, or kids could be playing. It's okay. It all went away. That allowed me to have better night's sleeps, waking up in the morning, feeling more refreshed, not dreading nighttime during the daytime, not dreading coming home. So it was paramount for me then to learn how to become a hypnotherapist because that changed my life so much. I was so curious, how is that possible? So that's how I became a hypnotherapist, because of noise. But did you know that hearing problems can be because of constant exposure to loud noises that can damage your eardrums and loss of hearing? It also then reduces your sensitivity to sounds that your ears pick up unconsciously that regulate our body's rhythm. It can create health issues. Hearing problems and noise pollution can create aggressive behavior, disturbances in your sleep, create that constant low level stress, creating that fatigue, hypertension, and all those are linked to excessive noise levels. And sometimes that noise levels can be just that traffic that's constantly in the background, or that lawn blower that just comes by and it just adds on top of all the noise and it just becomes too much. Sleeping disorders can be also because of loud noises that hamper your sleeping patterns. I know that my husband and I, we went off to a lovely vacation to Tofino on the west coast of Vancouver Island. It was super lovely and tranquil and peaceful, but it's on the ocean. And we had this beautiful oceanfront suite. And at nighttime, I could not sleep through the night because that crashing sound of the waves and the wind were something that I wasn't used to. And not a great sleep, woke up a little irritable. So the vacation was a little bit dampened because I was a little irritated because I couldn't get a good night's sleep. Also, cardiovascular issues. Studies have suggested that high intensity noise causes high blood pressure and increases the heartbeat rate, which disrupts normal blood flow. And did you know that the effect of noise pollution on domestic animals and wildlife is also an issue, because wildlife develop a better sense of hearing than us, because their survival depends on it. And pets react more aggressively and can have behavioral problems. And they can also become more disoriented more easily. So noise pollution is can affect us on many different levels, very conscious and on the unconscious, subconscious level. So I remember when Sony Walkmans came out. You remember those things that you put a tape into it, cassette tape, and you put your headphones on? And I used to listen to that music so loud. And my mom would say, she goes, "Careful, that might damage your ears and your eardrums." And I thought, what does she know? Well, nowadays my eardrums are more sensitive, and perhaps it was all those years and years and years of listening to that loud music directly on my eardrums. So that is my stories and educational information about noise pollution. I just wonder around you if you find that you have sensitivity to noise pollution, and wonder what you could do to just lessen it for yourself. I find that at nighttime, sometimes I actually have my phone, and it can play really tranquil, peaceful, hypnotic music. And I find when I just listen to that, and I might have it playing all through the night, just on a loop, that I sleep so soundly like a baby, because I program myself that when I hear that music, all other sounds just drift away, far away. They're no longer important to me, and all that's important to me is a nice, deep, relaxing, deep sleep. And as you concentrate on that beautiful sound of music, I've given my subconscious mind that suggestion of that music, sending me into a lovely, deep sleep, allowing my subconscious mind and conscious mind just to release all the outside noise, such as my husband snoring, and just allowing that sound actually to drift away and allowing me to go into a deeper sleep, because on some level I know that because he's snoring means that he is there beside me, and that he's in my life. So if I didn't hear that snoring, that would mean that he's not there and not in my life. And I rather want him to be in my life, so I accept that snoring as a signal for me to go deeper and deeper into a lovely, deep sleep. And do you see how just giving yourself a suggestion and turning the noise that's in your life into a positive experience, or just acknowledging it and letting it go, letting it drift farther and farther away. And we know, at least I know that when I'm in a calmer state, noises such as ambulances and leaf blowers, people next door, music coming from like a neighbor or something, doesn't affect me as much when I'm in that calmer state of relaxation. And I find that water really does help. Protein-rich foods really do help because our bodies need water and energy to function well and calmly and easily. So Leslie Marshall has a comment for us today, and it's a holiday here too in the US. So I'm a little stressed out, or I have a lot to do, and that's why I had to stop and listen to for your morning show, because it always makes me feel better and much more positive. You ladies do great work. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate that. Yeah, just taking a few minutes for ourselves can really give us the energy to focus on what we need to do. When we have so much to do, as Dana likes to remind me, clarity. Clarity and focus gives us the attention to create and be able to do what we need to do. Attention, clarity, and focus. Is that what you tell me to do, Dana? Where's your button?
Right there. Clarity, focus, and action.
Action.
Because it's pointless to move into action. That's part of that chaos cycle if you're not clear on what it is you want. And if you don't know what you want, how can you focus on it? How is the law of attraction going to give you what you want when 60 seconds ago it was that and now it's this, but hey, you're thinking about changing it, right? So yeah, clarity, focus, action. And I didn't hear what else you were saying, but self-care is so important. And actually, Helene and I are going to go out for brunch later. Not something we do very often, but we do a lot of this, but we don't see each other as much as we used to when I was actually doing more of the coaching. But Helene is well on her way. She's already successful, so I'm just there to support her doing that. And the things that she's attracting are absolutely wonderful. Makes me so happy to know that I've made a difference in her life. But I have to tell you what came up for Ellie.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did my prayer and I became the proxy. I checked on the noise level severity and it was a 9. So it's interesting what came up. And halfway through, I was working through my usual emotion code chart, but about halfway through, I was prompted to get my trauma chart. So that's why you sort of saw me go really for a minute. But yeah, Helene and I have another chart that we work with that's a trauma energy. So it's a little bit different, it has a few more things in it. But what came up for Ellie was very significant. So this is what I released. All of these were her own trapped emotions, not inherited. So low self-esteem, shock, effort unreceived. And remember, we were thinking that she was probably a dog used for breeding and probably kept in a kennel. She was very anxious dog before Kathy got her, very frightened, and lots of signs of a dog being abused. So effort unreceived. She had a psychic trauma, which is when sort of two of these lemons or whatever size is there come together and they're sort of stuck to each other. Creative insecurity and terror. She also had a tremendous fear of being hit. She also had the trapped emotion of feeling hated. She had anxiety. She was confused. And something that came from the trauma chart was, it says parental approval. So what that means with animals, particularly dogs, not cats, but dogs, is that the human is seen as the leader of the pack. Dogs have years and years of DNA of wolves, and so they still respond the way a wolf pack would. So they're always looking for their leader. So the leader in this case is the human. And so if Ellie was in a kennel, then it does make sense that she the leader was very unkind to her, so she didn't feel, so she had a lot of indecision, and then the other trapped emotions that came up were feeling violated and vulnerable. So yeah, I got a little bit sad. Lynn and I will often get a bit sad. Sometimes we'll cry if we get very, very connected to what's going on. But the good news with Ellie is that you know, she's got Kathy to love her, and Kathy is a major animal lover. She works for volunteers for shelters as well, and she's taken in quite a few abused animals. So thank you to Kathy and all the people that take in. All of my animals have been from shelters as well, other than one cat, Casper, that adopted us, and he would not go away. So I kind of gave him an ultimatum. If such and such happened, then we'd take him in. Of course, such and such happened, and we then adopted our beautiful Casper. But anyway, Kathy, let me know how Ellie is feeling. And again, big shout out to everybody that takes an animal from a shelter, or, you know, there are just so many animals. But if you do go for an animal that you know you're paying for, and that's being bred specifically in type of animal that you want, I mean, that's fine too, right? Just love them, treat them well. That's what's going to help them. And emotion code does work extremely well on animals. So Ellie's severity, while it didn't come down to a 0, it went from a 9 to a 3. So I'm happy with that. I mean, Ellie's got a lot of trapped emotions there. Any dog that's been abused is going to have a lot for that. So Kathy, let us know how Ellie is doing with that, and I'm always happy to work with the dogs. Yeah.
I actually, during my certification training process, we have to work on animals for them. So I actually worked on my dog, who was terrified of fireworks. Terrified. Roxy. Yeah. So she was 10 at the time, 10 and a half. And since we got her, she was always terrified of the fireworks. And that was I worked on her on October 30th because there are a few fireworks going off. And I just started doing the emotion code, and she settled down as the fireworks were going. And the next day was the 31st, and there was a massive firework display near our home. She slept through the entire thing.
Wow, that's fabulous. And of course, it's July 4th in US, so shout out to all our friends there. Have a great day celebrating. And yeah, something that I'm moving into, because I do like working with animals, is I'm been watching a lot of videos on Reiki, and I'm going to be, I don't know that I'll be a certified Reiki trainer, but since I have the ability to work with energy in my hands, I can feel that. So I would love to do that with animals as well. I think the emotion code and a little bit of that will just, calm the creatures down. And again, with the emotion code, anybody can learn it. You can get Dr. Brad's book. It's in there. There's lots of videos as well on YouTube, and then Helena and I do some, and we'll be periodically doing videos other than just our Wednesday live show. So I will be doing some probably on working around with people that have cancer, and I want to do some more work with dogs. And Helena,
I want to work on with people that have a smoking issue, that are smokers that want to become non-smokers.
Yeah.
I am the stopsmokinglady.com, and I'm putting together a protocol with Michael Lozier, author of many best-selling books, and we're putting together a protocol for emotion code practitioners, so they know how that they can help people become non-smokers as well.
Yeah, that's great. And, as a energy healer, all of us, I noticed that Kelly May Glover is watching us this morning. Nice shout out to you, Kelly May. She does different type of energy healing as well. She's also a numerologist who lives on the island. So, all of us are doing work, and we all have our specialties, right? We all have a niche market. If someone contacted me about smoking, they're going over to Helena. Yeah, I just don't resonate with that, but I definitely resonate with a lot of women's issues with animals, and that's what we do, right? You're always going to be led intuitively to what really speaks to you and what you feel good about. So follow that, ladies, follow that in your hearts, and gentlemen, if there's any men watching us today as well. So Helena, next week's show is fear of water. Yes, and I already have someone who stepped up. It's someone that she's actually doing the Sacred Gifts program right now with me, but she's always had tremendous fear of water. So Dawn, I'll be working on her next week, or Helena maybe. We'll just see what unfolds there. Either one can. So would just anybody else that you want to say hello to there, Helena, that you know?
Yeah. So Elaine Goldman just joined us, and so did Chris Kuchia.
Hey, Chris. Nice. Yeah. Excellent. So as we said, we're still a fairly new show, but we do believe that we offer a lot of value to people. Educate, inspire. That's what we hope you do. And you know what? Even if you just want to come and see what we're wearing.
What's really interesting today, I'm traveling again, so I had to pack some things. I'm thinking, what should I wear? And I started off the show, and then it just got a little warm out because we're having nice warm weather. We're both wearing black. I'll be wearing this to lunch. Hang on, where is it?
I got my black as well.
You got black and red. It's just like we are.
Yeah, that's what happens, right? Yeah, we're intuitive and connect. So yeah, so have yourselves an awesome day. Anyone that's watching, please share. And Helena, where and how can people reach you?
They can reach me through my website, which is flourishhypnosis.com/emotion-code. I have a Facebook page, Flourish Hypnosis, as well as a couple of YouTube channels, Helena Jenikin and Flourish Hypnosis.
Exactly. And you can find me at danasmithers.com or empoweredwomeninbusiness.com. I'm actually moving my business away from just working with women entrepreneurs. I'm attracting a lot of women that have, a lot of different issues going on in their life. So I'm happy to have that transition going on for me as well. And also my YouTube channel at this time is Empowered Women in Business. So that's it for now. Please share. Have yourselves an awesome week. Until we meet again, take good care and do something for yourself that is totally unexpected, totally indulgent, and makes you feel good.
That's right. Alrighty.
Okay, all right then.
I'm going to say goodbye because we're going to have brunch in a little while.
Bye now.
Bye.